Assalamu alaikum, family, peace, healing, and light. And welcome back to another episode of Healing with Angelica's podcast, where we discuss all things healing. And if you are new to the show, welcome, welcome, beautiful souls. On today's episode, we have an amazing guest joining us today, my brother Zion X, as we'll be discussing today's topic, living on purpose. Discover the reason you are here. Brother Zion, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. The weather's good outside. We got life, so I'm grateful, really.
Okay, listen, God is good. Praise be to Allah, Brother Zion. If you don't mind letting our audience know just a little bit more about you, that'll be great.
Absolutely. So I'm born and raised in Indianapolis, and I went to college in Kentucky. And when I was in college, I was pretty well involved around campus. Doing like student government, association, things like that. Being in a fraternity, so I was really involved on campus, and I started throwing my own events on campus. And that's when I found like what my purpose was in terms of speaking. I'm sure we'll get into that later. Then I graduated, went into education, taught a little bit. I taught kindergarten, taught fourth grade, taught ninth grade, and right now I'm at the University of Illinois. I am an advisor for a program that we have there, and I'm also a self development coach. So that's a little bit about me and a little bit about what I do now.
Yes, yes, I love it. Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Brother Zion.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. And all right, let's get started on today's episode. A well needed discussion because a
Yeah.
lot of us, I believe, are a little bit lost in life. Discover living on purpose, discover the reason you are here. And please, for my audience today, do not. I always say it. Do not hesitate to put any questions you may have for our guest, Brother Zion X, in the comment box below. Please allow it to be in relation to today's topic as well. Now, finding your purpose can feel overwhelming. Let me tell you, like it was times where I didn't even think I had a purpose, right? But it's really at the core of living a fulfilling life. It's not just about what you do for a living, but about understanding who you are, what you value, and how you can make a difference. In this episode, Brother Zion will dive deep into what it means to live on purpose by connecting with your true self, discovering the unique path meant for you. This journey is about listening to your inner voice, embracing a life filled with meaning and joy. Let's get started on living on purpose. And that brings me to my first question for you, Brother Zion. How did your journey begin with becoming a self development coach?
Absolutely. So for me, it was kind of like all over the place before I kind of got set on a path, if you will. I had no clue I was going to get into public speaking. I wanted to own my own gym.
Mhm.
So before I got on campus, I went to Kentucky State University. And before I got on campus, I had dreams of owning my own gym. I would work out. I wanted to be a personal trainer. So I was like, man, I have to own my own gym, right? And as time went on, my passion and love for going to the gym and all of that just kind of died out. And I started, trying to figure out like what else could I do? Like, what am I good at? And I think a lot of times we ask ourselves, like, what are we good at? Like, is that tied to my purpose?
Mhm.
So just always being outspoken, always having my own opinion. People would like come to me for advice, ask me for different stuff, but to get my expertise, but I never thought nothing of it, right? So I guess it really started early on because I didn't even see I was getting molded into this. Anyway, one day, it was kind of like an aha moment. I was on campus and I was just seeing like straight foolishness, right? It was like the same cycle, right? Party, go to this event, but like nobody on campus was teaching anybody like how to like follow their dreams and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And so I went to the vice president's office at the time And I asked him, I'm like, hey, like, why don't we have these kinds of events? No motivational speakers coming to our campus. Like, nobody's teaching us how to get our life together. And he was like, well, why don't you do it? I was like, well, I'm giving excuses. I'm like, well, you know, the process to reserve a room, you got to do this and all this. Like, it's so much. Like, I don't know. He was like, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. So he was like,
Mm,
just do it. Like, just find a room and do it. I'm like, all right. So I had borrowed one of my fraternity brothers' little small TV we had in the dorm, brought it downstairs to the lobby, hooked up my like my HDMI cord, my laptop to the TV, and I had my first event. And then I did another one for all the sisters on campus the following semester. And like the testimonials I was getting after the event, I was like, man, I really could do this. Like, I think I can be like an Eric Thomas, a Inky Johnson, a Les Brown. And so that is how, you know, I was like, okay, it's something that I'm capable of doing. And then I started, you know, working toward, you know, like following the dream after that.
I love it. I love it. And when I'm listening to you, it sounds like you actually seen a problem.
Yeah.
So within that problem that you seen, right, you went and tried to address it, and then the brother was like, "Well, hey, you see a problem, then you be the solution. You
Yeah.
figure it out, right?"
Yeah.
But within that, that embarked you on your journey of being a self development coach, and I love that. Now, I just want to know, like, with your first event, like, how did that happen? What did you guys talk about? Like, could you
Yeah.
share just what happened with that first event?
Yeah. Yeah, it really happened like super organically. Because you know, I had the cues helping me, right? I didn't have many people, like I wasn't tied to this resource or that resource. I had my fraternity. So I had the cues. And so, like I said, my fraternity brother, he was in the same dorm as me. I'm like, man, I need like a projector, but we don't have one. Can I use your TV? Right. So we got the TV. And my line brother, we were living together. We had an apartment off campus, and he was a financial advisor at the time.
Mm.
So when I was telling him about like the, you know, just the idea of throwing an event before I even got the TV and stuff like that, I told him, like, man, I want to like make a, you know, make a presentation for the students on campus to teach them like how to get to their goals. Like, I want it to be like self-reflective, because we always look outside and never inside,
Mm.
right? So I was like, I want this to be like a self-reflective thing. But since you're a financial advisor, could you teach some financial literacy at the event, and they could get the best of both worlds? And
Yes.
so we made a flyer for it, you know, a cheap little quick flyer. And like I said, we got the TV. We had, you know, posted all over social media, and we had a nice showing. The first event was all males, and then the following semester was all females. And so in the event, we were talking about like, what is your plan A? What is your plan B? What is your plan C? Who do you love the most? Through your daily actions, are you securing who you love the most? Right? How often do you reflect on the decisions you make? Right? Is your decisions leading you towards your goals? And he was teaching them how to like budget, you know, how to get your finances, how to get your credit together. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword type of thing, and we just started it from scratch, you know.
Wow, wow, I love it. Like you really went out on faith and did it.
Right.
Because I heard when you said, "Well, uh, I don't know if you said that verbatim, but I don't know how to do it. Like, of course, it's my
Right.
first event. Like, this is not something that I thought about doing. I came to you so you can do it, or
Right.
figure out who can do
Right. I wanted my problem solved. And like I said, like we always look outside and never within. Like
it.
we always say, oh man, that light needs to be fixed. And we never like see, like maybe I could just turn it myself and then
Yeah.
like and so that was when I learned, you know, you got to take accountability for things that you want done.
Yes, yes, I love it. Praise be to Allah. So within you, just being a self development coach, there's all different types of coaches, but you chose to be a self development coach. So why do you believe, or why did you choose being a self development coach was what was needed for one to discover their purpose?
Right, absolutely. That's a very good question. It really starts from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The study guides that we have in the Nation of Islam, It's called self-improvement. It's the basis for community development. And so that's one component of why I focus so much on self,
Mm-hmm.
number one. But number two, the name wasn't always self-development, but that was the message, I guess, or the approach, you can say. So at first I was going around, calling myself a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
You see Eric Thomas, you see Les Brown, you see, people like those capacities in those capacities. And I'm like, okay, I have to be a motivational speaker. And then I'm like, but it sounds weird because I'm not the yell at the camera type of person. Like, you need to get up and go to the gym at 5 in the morning if you want to reach your fullest potential. Like, you can do it. Like, I'm like, I want to motivate you, but I really just want you to like work on yourself
Mm-hmm.
to get to where you want to go. So a motivational speaker. So I hit up brother Malik, who makes the bow tie clips.
Okay.
Shout out to brother Malik.
Yes.
And he gives me so much advice. And we were talking one day, and I was like, what's an attractive like word I could use that like can still explain what I'm trying to convey? And I'm like, is it a empowering coach? Is it a life coach? And he was like, what about self-development coach? And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you're right. And I said, you have to develop yourself in
Yeah.
order to get to where you want to go. And then that's where the name came from. But the whole, like I said, approach versus, being a motivational, why did I choose self development? Started from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because he teaches us like you have a devil within yourself and you have
Mm-hmm.
a God within yourself. And we're, being in the nation, we're to build a nation, right? We want to create a future for our families, ourselves, our families, and our nation. But all of that starts with us.
Yes.
And so that's why self development is key for me.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. It reminds me just of just what I'm doing in the work of healing. Everything starts with self. My target is the young women, and just I wasn't born in a nation, but just to join a nation. And what really got me inspired was just hearing what the minister, just the powerful words he spoke about the woman. Like it really attracted me, it drew me into it. But what I realized was that it was some trauma that I experienced in my past. So when I've heard him speak high value of the woman, it kind of made me like, man, like other women needs to hear this. But as I was embarking on this journey of joining the Nation of Islam, I was finding myself and I was in that process of self development. And I truly believe like self improvement is also healing. Like that's I kind of put that together. Like I did a live and that just popped up like like healing is self improvement because when you're healing, you're growing. You're leaving those old things that you were used to and healing those old parts of you. And when you heal those old parts of you, you're growing, right? So I definitely believe self first. I always say that.
Uh,
Self,
yeah.
self. So I relate completely with that. So praise be to Allah. So it takes me to my next question. If you guys have any questions for my brother, please put it in the comment box below. Self-development, living on purpose. So my next question would be, what does living on purpose mean to you personally?
Right. So I would say living on purpose is you getting up every day with a destination in mind,
Mm-hmm.
goals in mind, and whether that be the next 2 weeks, the next month, the next year, or the next 10 years, or whatever. I think it's just getting up daily, working towards a goal. For me, my purpose, because you have to clearly identify your purpose. It's not like, oh, my purpose is, to help people, right? That may be your passion, but then it's like your purpose is within you helping people. How are you going to help people? Are you
Mm-hmm.
going to do holistic healing? Are you going to be a pharmacist? Are you going to be a motivational speaker? Are you going to be an author? So like my purpose may be through writing, whatever. And so that's number one. But number two for me, um, my brother passed away 3 days after I graduated high school,
Mm-hmm.
and um, him getting murdered showed me like I didn't have a purpose because I thought I was living, and he's not my blood brother, but he was my best friend. Could be over my house when I wasn't there, type thing, and I just thought, all the way up until that point, I was living my life with a purpose. But after he passed, I kind of saw like I didn't have a reason for getting up anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had to like find something that would make me, want to get up every day. I'm going to sleep thinking about it. I'm waking up thinking about it. If I'm at work, I can't wait to get off work to go work on that thing that really is a burning desire in my heart. That is my purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
I would just say in a nutshell, finding your purpose is finding something that you personally resonate with, that you get up every day to tackle. You go to sleep thinking about it, and it's something that you want to constantly work on and improve daily. I think that's how you find your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I see we had a question here, but you kind of spoke on it. But maybe you can give more content to it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Zahi Abdul Shabazz. Please forgive me if I said that wrong. Okay, she asked, what's the best way to find our purpose? Oh, he answered it. Well, I
Absolutely.
mean, if you want to go more in depth, please
Yeah,
do so.
absolutely.
Right.
It's actually a quote from the messenger, and I want to paraphrase. I don't want to take his words out of place, but he basically spoke about, what one does, well and effortlessly. That's 9 times out of 10 what they were called to do. Like that, that's their destiny, and that's like I said, that's in a nutshell of what the messenger was saying, not exact words. But basically, what I get from that is, what do you like to do?
Mm.
What do you do well? Like, what do you do effortlessly? Like, it's nothing to give advice. Well, maybe you should be a counselor, right? It's nothing for you to go in the kitchen and whip something up, and everybody's like, man, can I get some more of those? Like, to find that maybe, cooking or culinary arts is your purpose, right? For satisfying people or helping people. So I would say it's as simple as this: finding what you like to do and what you do well, what comes effortlessly to you. And I think that's how you can start to identify your purpose. You may not land on it right then and there, but that will start you searching for your purpose.
Now, I may not say the quote verbatim from the minister, but I think it's like um, whatever you enjoy to do,
Mm-hmm.
you're like born to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something in that content.
Yeah.
So it's really just what you are like you said, what you are naturally good at, what you enjoy to do, something that's not work to you. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it feels like work, then it's probably not something that you're going to continue to
Right.
do, because you also have to have that that willpower and that passion in order to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love that. Praise
You
be
you
to God.
know,
Yeah.
praise be to Allah. I just thought about something when you said that.
Mhm.
And even the question like still being on the screen, like it has me thinking that is such a basic question. And the fact that we have to ask ourselves, and there's no knock to nobody because that was what I had to ask myself. But the fact that we had to ask a simple question like that: what is my purpose? What is my purpose for waking up in the morning? That tells us that our lives are so distracted and pulled by so much other things. We have to ask ourselves, what's my purpose? You don't say, what's my purpose of going to work? Like you have to go to work because there's things that have to get done. But we have to do deep self reflection to ask us, what do I like to do?
Mhm.
Dang, you don't know what you really like to do. You don't know what you do well. Like I had an event yesterday and I was talking to one of the guys like after the event was over, and we were chopping it up about this same kind of thing. And I'm like, isn't that crazy? You ask somebody, what do they like to do? What do they do well? And they're like, oh, I never really thought about it. Well, what else are you thinking about?
Oh my gosh, it's like it's unfortunate,
Yeah.
because we are, unfortunately, a lot of us are distracted with
Mm-hmm.
just worldly things, and just this we're on this, I want to say, we on this hamster wheel, this hamster wheel, just going through life,
Mm-hmm.
not really seeing, dang, like, what's my purpose? And it takes me to my next question. You spoke about the death of your childhood friend. And you kind of spoke a little bit about how that kind of woke you up to your purpose. So, like, why do you believe? Because I truly believe that sometimes, and most of the times, it takes certain circumstances to happen to someone in order for them to be like, you know, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe this is the area I'm supposed to be in. I say for me, like when I actually went through my pregnancy with my son and then healing from a health issue right afterwards, I realized like this is what I love to do. But a lot had to take me through whew, so much in order for me to realize like this is what I should do. This is what my purpose is. So do you mind just elaborating just a little bit as to why do you believe certain circumstances have to happen in order for one to really know their purpose?
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of like speaking from being. You're not qualified to speak on certain things if you didn't go through certain things. I
Mhm.
mean, it's as simple as that. And there's many scriptures that we can point to that bear witness to this point. But I think we're being actually fashioned in those trials or challenges or obstacles that we're going through that actually is like qualifying us and molding us into what we're supposed to be. And I know that sounds cliche to a lot of people. They're like, how is me going through all of this traumatic stuff building me for my purpose? Like I could still get to my purpose without going through all of this BS. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So how? And I would say to that, it's one thing to read something from a book, like have textbook knowledge of something versus like life experience.
Mhm.
And so, like, in order to be a parent, if you didn't go through certain things, growing up, whether it's taking care of your younger sibling or having a relationship, girlfriends or boyfriends, dating or whatever the case may be, there may be certain things that you miss that may not make you such a great parent, right? Or just have certain parenting skills. Let me not say such a great parent, but have certain parenting skills. And so it's the same thing with us. Why do we have to go through hard trials to find our purpose or to find what we're supposed to be doing? And I think it's all about the fashioning part. If you look, I think it's how you look at it too. If you look at things that happen to you versus happening for you, you kind of start to adopt that mindset. Oh man, more struggle. Oh man, another obstacle. Oh man, another. But if you look at it as, no, things are happening for you. Oh,
Yeah.
my car broke down, it's teaching me this. Oh, I just went through a traumatic relationship. Oh, Allah was teaching me this. Oh, okay. And it's just, it enhances it enhances you. So I think it's really your perspective, because many may look at trials as a good thing. So I think that's what they're meant to be, though, for.
Absolutely. I can definitely agree with that. It took the trials and me being shaped in those trials to actually have a better understanding of just life and people in general. It took those things to happen to me in order to be like, okay, make me, like I said, change. It's a change of perspective of how you look at things. And it always takes me to, I think anytime a trial happened for me, I always think about it's a verse in the Bible. I may have it wrong. I think it's 8:28. I said it before. Everything works for the good of the Lord. Like no matter what. Like just a quick story. Back in 2016, I lost my son. I had a stillborn. I was 9 months pregnant, and at the time, my life was not was not the best, basically. And I was not in the mindset that I was now than I was then. Now having a son and seeing how my life is, I honestly said, like, wow, like I wouldn't have been the best mom to my son. I know I wouldn't have. Just the
Mm,
mindset that I had at that time, I would have I so it's bittersweet to be like, okay, sometimes you may not know and understand things until years later. It
mm,
took years later for me to realize, like, at the end of the day, my son is from Allah. Allah gave me that circumstance to show me, who I really am. And from that moment, that started me on my journey of just speaking live. I started speaking live after my son passed away because I wanted to express myself and talk about what I went through. And from that, that opened the doorway of what I'm doing now. So it's
Right.
like, wow, it does take sometimes certain circumstances to be like, wow, let me push you into your purpose. So praise be
Absolutely.
to Allah. I love that. So I want to talk about, I know you do things for the youth. Lord, you know we need it. The youth need all of the guidance right now, right? So I want to just talk about because I know you said you work with people, uh, people that's in college, not people, but children that's in college and trying to find a life after college. Why is it so important that young people know their purpose and the reason they are here? I'm talking about the young folks.
Right. Um, that's a good question. I think that it's important because they are the future. And so if they're tapping out already at 19, 15, 21, 14, and they're supposed to be the future of our nation, of our people, we have a problem.
Mm,
Right? That's number one. So we have to keep the youth, myself included, very motivated, very inspired, very filled with light, filled with ambition, pouring into them because they are our future, literally. That's number one. But number two, it gives them a sense of being alive.
yes.
Like why are they here? Because being a youth, you're going through a very interesting time, if you will. You're learning yourself, you're learning how to deal with your emotions, you're still learning the ways of the world, why things are the way they are. And imagine if you just had no GPS on your life. You're gonna go crazy with all this madness that we live under. You're gonna go crazy. And so I think it's important for them to, while they're still learning and picking up game of the world and from your parentals, you're also being fed from us
Mhm.
the importance of why you should start building your future, why you should start working on self improvement, why it's important to identify your purpose in life, so they can better navigate this journey that they're on of figuring things out. If that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that. It kind of just makes me think about just how a lot of the youth, because they don't know their purpose and or
Mhm.
why they are here, they're also on this rat race or this hamster wheel of just going through life purposely. I hope I said this like probably didn't say it right, but just like with no purpose,
Mhm.
basically, right? So praise be to Allah. It's going to take me to my next question, but a little breaky. If you all are enjoying this episode just as well as I am, please show your support by donating today by texting the word donate to 937-313-2466. If you all are enjoying all of the broadcasts here on CTGB Network, please show your support as well. Information to donate will be shown on the screen below shortly. I love you all. Now let's get back to today's episode, Living on Purpose. Discover the reason you are here with Brother Zion X. Praise be to Allah. So that actually takes me to my next question for you. I truly believe that it's a big spiritual disconnection. If it wasn't for me being able to tap back into my true self and connect to my spiritual self, I really don't believe that I would even be on a journey that I am today and or know my purpose. So, what role does faith or spirituality play in guiding one into knowing their purpose?
Mm. Uh, it's essential. It's impossible without it. But it makes me think about Islam
Hmm.
because my first thought that came to mind when you were talking about like it's a disconnect.
Mhm.
I think there's a disconnect with youth, the generations that we're seeing now, and religion. I
Mm.
think there's a disconnect right now with youth, the generations we're seeing, and God. And that's why it's so important for us to do our job and spread Islam. Because when you understand Islam and you start to fall in love with Islam, you'll see how it is life.
Yes.
It is the way of things, it is the order of nature. So it's essential to your healing.
Mm.
Right?
Break it down.
Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam.
Yeah.
It's essential to your success, right? We know this, you know, through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because they taught us this. But I think since we don't understand that being one with God is uh life itself,
Mm-hmm.
we start to take God out the equation
Mm-hmm.
because we don't understand. We still believing the traditional societal way of God and spirituality and religion, if you will. And so we just dismiss himself. You get what I'm saying, from the equation. And so we try to tackle our goals by ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we like, I don't want to do the whole church thing. I'm just gonna grind. So you leave out God. And
Ooh.
that's when you make a mistake, because that is that essential part of anything, whether you want to heal or whether you want to pursue your dreams. It's the essential part. You can't have, you can't not have it.
Absolutely. You cannot have it at all. God is who created you. So
Right,
he knows exactly, he had pure intentions on
right.
why he brought you here.
Yes,
So that's when you know that God had intentions. He didn't just, hey, just request you to be born in your mother's womb just because.
right.
No, he had a set purpose for you
Mm-hmm.
even before you were in your mother's womb. So for you to know that and understand that, that's why it's so important that one go on that quest to finding themselves and knowing themselves. So those steps, that step that you brought about, just back into ourselves and knowing what we like to do. And sometimes I believe it sometimes go back on things that you've done when you were a child.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes. So that's just some little advice that I think could help as far as one wanting to tap into their purpose.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's like you, isn't it interesting? Like when, you know, when people, you know, they do some time in prison, they say that's when I started reading more,
Mhm.
because, you know, the circumstances that are present force you to do certain things that you probably typically wouldn't do if you weren't in that circumstance. And I think it's the same thing with healing in God. Isn't it such a coincidence when you go on in your journey of self discovery to
Mhm.
find out who you are, to heal, you find God. When you go in your journey to find God, you heal. I wanted to add that as well, because it's one and the same.
Yes, yes, it is. Like it was me, like wanting to embark on a healing journey is where I found Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And Islam, I truly believe that we need to just start looking on the outside and just seeing what it has done for people. Like
Mm-hmm.
what has, and this is not to talk about, we're not talking about religion and throwing any shots, but if you could just see just the condition of our people with certain religion, you can see what it's done for them.
Mm.
The me personally, this is me bearing witness. Me, the Nation of Islam, actually has solid proof of what it does when you apply the teachings of the Most Honorable
Right.
Elijah Muhammad and study Islam.
That's right.
There's proof,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as long as we continue to be that glass, that clean glass, and just be that example, I truly believe that's the best thing. Just be an example.
Mm-hmm.
People will see like, wow, okay, maybe this is something I need to try. Let's see what's going on here. We done tried everything else. What I know you know the quote.
Yeah.
After
After everything fails, comes Islam.
come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it. Praise be to Allah. It's actually to my next question for you. And if you guys have any questions, please put it in the comment box below. If you guys are enjoying the episode, put the fire emojis in the chat. Please show some love. So, you're from Chicago, right?
I'm from Indianapolis. I
Okay.
live in Chicago
You
now.
live in Chicago now. Okay. So, I don't know how the crime is out there, but I heard it's kind of, yeah, crazy. But I'm pretty sure that it's a lot of young men and youth that's involved in crime,
Mhm.
in general, not even just in Chicago. I only mention that because that's where you at now. So, what are some negative effects? Because I believe getting into violence is one of the negative effects, but maybe you can elaborate on it. What are some negative effects one can obtain when they don't know the reason they are here or
Mm.
their purpose?
Wow, very excellent question. I would say self-destruction.
Mm,
You listed an example of self-destruction, but ultimately that's what it is. When my brother got murdered, I did a lot of reflection. Like,
mm,
why was he hanging with these people? Why was he doing what he was doing? Why did he switch up his clique the night that happened? Like, I'm just was asking so many questions, and I heard God. You get what
mm,
I'm saying when I'm asking these questions? I'm hearing a voice of higher intellect. It's the God in me, but I didn't even know that was in me. It was unlocked,
yeah.
right? But a voice of higher intellect started talking to me about those that don't have a vision will perish, right? We read
Mm,
that in the scripture. And so I started studying the events in his life. I'm like, dang, well, dang, he would have avoided that and dang, he didn't have a vision. He didn't
mm,
have a purpose. And so he started involving himself in things, right, that he had no business being involved with because he had no vision. So he's like, yeah, we can ride here. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can do that. Had no business doing the things that he was doing, but since he didn't have a vision, he didn't have an objective to reach, he was just swaying every which way. And
mm,
so ultimately, it led him to be around the wrong people. You get
mm,
what I'm saying? And eventually, that comes with a consequence. And so, to your point with Chicago or just the major cities in general, what we see is a byproduct of not having strong men around, not
mm,
having good guidance, not having a vision, though, not having a reason to live. And so, you just do anything. All right, I'm throwing bricks at cars. All right, I'm stealing hubcaps. I'm hot wiring cars. I'm breaking in cars. I'm going on hot rides. You get what I'm saying? I'm disrespecting women, right? I'm hanging on the block. Whatever, all of these things that we're doing that are self destructive all stem from us not having a vision. Because why? When you have a vision, you're working towards something.
yes.
So you weed off things that are distractions. Oh, I can't hang. I can't answer this phone call. I'm doing this. I got this to get done today. And so you see the opposite when you don't have a vision.
Oh, I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. Oh
Mm,
my God. I want to know the Bible scripture of that.
absolutely.
No vision, one will perish.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. That's deep. That's deep. Praise be to Allah. Wow. Praise be to Allah. So, as you were speaking on that, it made me think about how my definition of generational trauma is that I want to say that epigenetic effects that we have embarked on from just things that happened in the past to us, trauma, the habits of our parents, and what we've seen as far as in our environments that kind of cause us to go on a certain path in our lives as young adults and just adults in general. So my question for you is, why do you believe, or how do you believe that generational trauma has played a part in the youth not knowing their purpose?
Wow. I think that's a direct effect because your first teachers are your parents, right? They say your first teacher is your mother. That's where you learn everything from. So the dynamic that you see in your household affects how you feel when you go to school. It affects how you talk and indulge with your friends, your girlfriend, your boyfriend at the time, whatever. How you feel about yourself, how you feel about life. You can have some so hectic in the house. You like, bro, I don't even want to be alive no more, bro.
Mm,
Like, I don't even. So that's just dealing with household trauma, right? Now, think about that generation after generation, financial struggles that get passed down from generation. Now, you have a product of somebody that does not even think about financial freedom,
mm,
does not think about investing, does not think about being wealthy because they've been conditionalized just on a financial tip, right? And so I think the household dynamic touches all of those components: the financial, the self, right? Professional aspects, whatever the case may be. I think it goes to, like the household. You may be in a house where your parents aren't present, but your grandparents are present, or you living with your cousins, or
mm.
what have you, so on and so forth. And so, and I hope I'm hitting it.
Yes.
I hope I'm answering it, but I think it just has a direct correlation because for me, I was a first generation college student, and so there's certain questions you just can't ask about college because your parents didn't go to college.
Mm,
It's like you have a homework assignment, and you asking your parents about it. They like, go ask somebody else or go look it up because they didn't really go far in their education, so they're not really able to help you in a way. And so their behaviors spill out. They may talk negative about education. You like, man, I'm a youngster trying to go to school, trying to build a future for myself. I'm trying to go to college. They can't even fathom those ideas.
mm,
You get what I'm saying? Because generationally, their parents, you get what I'm saying, probably didn't go far in school. And so then they just keep producing it. And so, not to be long winded, but I think it just, ties back to your household. And I think it creates a stigma over you before you really even know. And their behaviors, how they parent, how they talk to you, things they teach you. They may try to put negative components on things that really may not even be negative to you if you went on and searched it yourself. So I think the generational thing plays a big part in the household. And we've been dealing with that in many regards.
mm. You broke it down. I love that because it does start in a household, and just with the mother being the first teacher, and with what I'm seeing in the world, and me being a young mother myself. However, I'm so grateful for the Nation of Islam and me being able to experience that while I was pregnant with my son. Just not having, again, that strong example, not having, even knowing yourself or knowing your own purpose, let alone trying to mold your child into knowing what their purpose is.
Right.
It makes them feel like they're defeated or there's no purpose of living, because also they're looking at mom, they're looking at dad, and looking at what you're doing. So being that example as a parent is just so important. So definitely just keep that in mind. I'm
Mhm,
so glad that we touched on that. So
mhm.
I want to just ask as well, just with you being a self-development coach, like, you are really bringing hope to the youth, because with the condition that our people are in, it's not a lot of mentors, and not is there it's not a lot of coaches, especially wanting to aid and help the youth, because you know I believe that sometimes the older generation may feel like there's no hope for the youth when they see them in a certain condition, or what is it that I can do? But you see hope.
Mhm.
You see that again, the children are the future. So, do you mind just elaborating on just some of the effects of the children or the youth that has came in contact with you just through your coaching as a self-development coach?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to touch on a point, because being at headquarters, we're out in the communities as we all should be. you know. And so I'm seeing this firsthand while I'm in Chicago working with the youth outside
Mm-hmm.
of being you know, a self-development coach. I wanted to shout out GC Golden Child because he, you know, plays a big role in me seeing such a big future for the youth. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to acknowledge him, you know, because I believe I'm being a self-development coach when I'm teaching them Islam and
Yes.
spreading the word of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable minister Louis Farrakhan. The minister said a youthless movement is a useless movement, right? And so we're inspired just off that. Right? So I can't talk about my profession without talking about the work that we do with the Nation of Islam, the inspiration that we get from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because that's number one. That's why I even do what I do, right? And I'm so inspired and I see a future for our youth. But just some of the positive things I will say is the testimonials I get from college students after speaking at my events, like when they hang back and just talk to me saying I've never thought about this. You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying? I didn't even plan B and C. What? I just had a plan A. You get what I'm saying? The personal testimonials. I had a single mom at my event, and that was kind of like a tough one because I'm like, I'm not a parent, you know what I mean? But she stayed back and she was like, everything about procrastination, you know, prioritizing and organization, like you answered everything. And that just helped me, you know, as being a working mom and a student. So I think just the personal testimonials of people saying, you're helping me navigate my life is like the joy that comes to me from doing this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I bear witness to it, and that's how you know you're living your purpose. Like I believe all of our all of our purpose is to serve others.
Mhm.
However, we all have a special way as to how we're going to serve others. Like you said, you know, you're a speaker. Others will probably write books. You
Mhm.
know, others will probably create a certain product. You
Mhm.
know, we've been, you know, shaping iniquity for so long, so long that, you know, it done came to a point that we don't know who we are. We don't know ourselves. But when you have, you know, by the grace of Allah, Nation of Islam and the teachings, we know what it is that we have to do to help in the resurrection uh,
Mhm.
of our people. So I love it. I love the testimonials. And you even challenge yourself, you know, even though you're not, you know, you're not a parent, you had someone that was, but you were still able to tap into her mind and help her in certain areas in her life. So I love that. Praise be to Allah. So I'm going to go and get to our last question. It's been such a beautiful topic, conversation, dialogue. Thank you again. Um, I would like to ask, like, what advice do you have for a young man or woman coming into adulthood, um, leaving college, striving to find their purpose, but is having a real hard time doing so because, again, like I said, finding your purpose can be very, very overwhelming. So, yeah.
I would say, such a good question again. I would say, you know, striving to live right and striving to have good character because self development and self improvement has everything to do like with your moral compass, your
Mm,
moral activity. Sin puts a burden on our minds. And so, in this journey of finding our purpose, finding ourselves, we don't need any distractions. We don't need any weight on our shoulders or in our heads, right? So, I think that would be number one, trying to live right, trying to tell the truth, regardless to whom or what, striving to just do the right thing, I believe starts you on your journey. Because when you're striving to live right, the things that were once so chaotic and a distraction fall off.
Yes.
and you can start focusing just off trying to live right, trying to do the right thing, trying to treat others how they want to be treated. So I honestly, seriously, I would say anybody that's trying to start their journey, it's easy to say read a book. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Start waking up at 5, develop a routine, develop discipline, right? Develop how to master your mindset. That sounds so beautiful. But we have to start from ground zero. And that starts with, the minister talks about righteousness starts with telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we build discipline and build good habits. And so, like I said, this journey, because what the journey is you, to be honest with you, this journey is really searching to become one with God.
Mm.
In my honest opinion, we add components to it. But the reality of healing, the reality of finding your purpose, the reality of self improvement is the reality or manifestation rather of you finding God and becoming a God by degrees,
Yes.
by degrees. So all of that stems back to having a good moral compass, good conduct, good behavior. It's a struggle with all of us. But I think if we focus on that, all the other things will start to fall in place. But it's that one component right there that messes us up. And like I said, it's striving to live right, think right, and do right.
Ooh. Live right, do right, and think right.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that is a such a beautiful advice. And I can bear witness to it myself because like you said, once you go on that path, all those distractions just go away
Mm-hmm.
because you're doing what it is that is really in your nature. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sin is a burden of the mind. When you're doing other than what you would other than yourself or doing things other than yourself, you're gonna burn your mind so much that you're not even gonna have time to think about what your purpose is, right?
X.
So it's just like, wow, like let me do this, let me do that. And I want to say, just even within that journey, just be patient with yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
know, patience is a virtue. Lord,
Mm-hmm.
I know I have a son. So patience is a virtue, but just knowing that as long as you just taking it, one step at a time, doing little things here, creating that discipline, like you said, eventually you'll be able to embark on that journey and knowing like, hey, I'm living on purpose now and I know why I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yes, yes. So praise be to Allah, brother Zion. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank you.
so much for
Absolutely.
yes for joining me today to discuss this definitely well needed topic. Living on purpose, discover the reason you are here. I would also like to thank my amazing audience and Healing Tribe for joining us today. I pray that this episode was informative, valuable, and healing to you all. Also, be sure to share, like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes on any of your favorite podcast station, CTG broadcast on YouTube, and Healing with Angelica on Facebook and YouTube to help spread the light of healing to those in need. So many people in need of this, so please, please, please share. Also, if you are ready to start your healing journey and don't know where to start, Healing with Angelica is here to assist. Get started on your healing journey today by texting the word READY to 937-313-2466. Also, be sure to join the Healing Tribe, I'm sorry, by purchasing some of our merch today. We're getting to that fall season, so we're showing some of the fall stuff here and other merch that we have. So if you are interested, please text the word tribe to 937-313-2466. Also, my new ebook, Thrive, is available for purchase now. Get your copy today by texting the word Thrive to 937-313-2466. It is a guide for young Black women to reconnect with self, like I said, self first, and God. So praise be to Allah. I also just want to share, I didn't get a chance, so I just want to just share a few photos. I don't know how it's going to look on here. So y'all just, you know, be mindful of me. So here's some photos of my brother Zion, um, speaking to a group of people and just some of the things that he's done. So praise be to Allah. I love it. I love it.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, yes, yes. Keep doing the work that you are doing. All right, my brother. Before we end today's show, do you have any closing remarks for our
Uh,
audience today?
no, I just want to thank you. I love your energy, love the genuine ness, that you possess. So that's all. I'm just really thankful. And I just want to say to those out there that tuned in today, like, just be real with yourself. You know what I mean? Once you start that, like, nothing else matters, and you can get to your accomplishments much sooner. Whether it's you discovering yourself, finding God, whatever. Whether it's a career journey, just be real with yourself and strive to live right. Other than that, I just want to thank you. I definitely appreciate you.
Yes, sir. The pleasure is all mine. I'm so glad we touched on this topic. I'm so glad I connected with you. I'm like, oh my gosh, I seen your message. I'm like, dang, this is like 50 years ago. How did I not see this? So praise be to Allah. I'm glad we connected. Is there, I know I got your IG on there, but is there another way people can connect with you and your coaching and things in that matter?
Yeah, so my name on LinkedIn is Zion King. Um, that's about it. I don't really. I got to get more into like the X and the TikTok and all
Yeah.
that stuff, and then YouTube. So I'm working on it, but right now I'm real heavy on Instagram, GTWT official, or you can find me in my professional state on LinkedIn under Zion King.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, my Healing Tribe merch. This is episode 101. We at 101.
Wow! Wow!
What? Can you believe it? I
Wow!
can't believe I've been doing this for this long. But that's the thing, like you said, like, I love doing it. I love having these dialogues, these conversation, and I don't just feed off of it, myself. Like, I know that others can feed off of it. So praise be to Allah. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you, my Healing Tribe, for joining us, and we will see you next time and leave you in the words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.